Waiting for the forensic team to arrive. Well, there was an attempted break-in basically. So close. Good morning. Not a good morning. It's actually a bad morning. It's actually really early in the morning. Excuse my very croaky voice. I'm currently just waiting for the forensic team to arrive to take their swabs and everything, because last night, the night before last, my house was, well, there was an attempted break-in basically. They've tried to yank open a window, like the metal plates, the arms on the side of the window. They must have used a crowbar or something. They're trying to like alter it, move it out of shape so that they could yank the window open. I checked, I don't think anything's been taken. There's nothing to take, is there? So I don't think they were successful, but nonetheless, it's still bloody scary. When I arrived yesterday and I saw it, your heart just, oh. Yeah, I spoke to neighbours and everything, no one heard anything. I'm gonna get cameras and everything outside, but for the meantime, yeah. Police have been notified, forensics are coming around to take any fingerprints, whatever they can. I've had to preserve the window. I might show you a picture or something. I had to preserve the window by putting like plastic bin liners and stuff over it so it doesn't get rained on before the forensic team arrived. So my dad helped me with that yesterday. Yeah. It's just bloody great, isn't it? And also, when I tried to shut the window back when I saw it yesterday, I couldn't, because they've adapted the arm so much. It's all jagged. I'll have to show you a picture, but it's all jagged. So I couldn't physically pull it shut. I was getting a little bit worried about that, like leaving it overnight again, open. Everyone else was like, don't worry, they don't tend to come back 2 nights in a row, especially if they're unsuccessful. You know what it was? I was using the normal end of a hammer to like knock it into shape. Basically, I was supposed to use the rubber end, because what was happening when I was using the metal end, it was like ricocheting back against me. So nothing was actually hitting the metal or knocking it into shape. When we used the rubber end, it knocked back into kind of somewhat shape, enough for me to pull the window close and lock it. It's just not a nice feeling, is it? I'm actually really upset, yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for them to arrive and hopefully they can do their thing. Who knows? Hi guys, welcome back. How are we? I hope we're all doing well. I'm doing a lot better, and I thought now that you know a little bit about the attempted break-in and some time has passed, now would be a really good time for me to give you a bit of an update. So the forensics team did come round. They took their swabs, they spoke to neighbours, especially those who had cameras. Unfortunately, nothing came of it, because they said whoever the suspect was wearing gloves, so there were no fingerprints to obtain, and no one had any footage of the person potentially doing it, which is really annoying. However, what they did point out is that because the house was vacant and because it was quite clear that works were being done, it kind of left it quite open and vulnerable to being targeted, which is exactly what happened. One of them suggested that it could be someone who was potentially looking for tools to steal. I mean, fortunately, there was nothing to steal inside, and fortunately, they didn't actually get inside by the looks of things. However, it was still such a massive invasion of my privacy. So as a result, they recommended that I install cameras, or at least a dummy one. Don't get me wrong, I completely get why a dummy would be almost like a happy medium, especially because it's not as costly as installing and buying full-on cameras. However, because I already had the attempted break-in, for me, I wanted peace of mind, so it made more sense to just install the real deal. One thing I would say, however, are dummies seem like a really good deterrent, because while no one actually knows that they're not in operation, you do, but they still act as a preventative measure. And so hopefully people will think twice about doing anything untoward, like breaking into your home, assuming they're going to get caught on camera, well, at least on your turf. So I did some research online just to find out what the best home security systems were, the best cameras, but it just felt like an overwhelm of information, from the options that were available to complaints to testimonials, great reviews, bad reviews, and so forth. And so I just couldn't choose. I kind of shortlisted it down to I think about 3. So I had Ring, Blink, and Yelp, I want to say. There was another one. But even so, it was really hard to determine which one to go for. So for instance, some people complained about the battery life. Others complained about the cost of installing some of them because they had to be wired in. So I popped to the shops. Silly me, I went to Screwfix, which was a bit of a waste of time because they couldn't actually help me. But I was hoping to speak to someone who could kind of advise on the best ones to go for, or at least what the different options and capabilities were. I think I actually tried Currys too, hoping that someone there could help me. But again, it was just people who honestly, they could help you find the products, but they don't really have much information on the individual products. And because I guess cameras are quite niche, I probably shouldn't have gone to quite a generic store. Anyway, in the end, I decided it had to be almost trial and error. So I'm just gonna have to find something, go with it, figure it out from there. So I ended up getting the Ring doorbell and 2 floodlight cameras. So I've got literally coverage around the house, which is exactly what I needed. While the doorbell is Wi-Fi operated, the floodlights needed to be wired in, which of course is more costly up front and takes more effort. But for the long run, it's less maintenance. I don't have to keep on taking it off and charging it or anything like that. I think the Ring doorbell was about £90 with the chime, because you have to get a chime as well. And I think the floodlights were probably about £150 each off the top of my head. I can't remember, but I will find out before I put this video out. While it was a horrible thing to have gone through, I think if it was going to happen, it was probably a good thing that it happened then, because it was around the same time that I was doing a lot of my wiring. It meant that the electrician could just extend one of the current wires to connect to floodlights, which is just perfect. It saves so much time and probably money in the long run. The other great thing is that once you've got everything in situ, so I had my Ring doorbell, my floodlights and the chime, you can literally access everything in one app. This isn't sponsored at all, by the way. This is just my experience, so I'm gonna get to the bad as well. One of the best things for me as well, I know this was spurred on by the attempted break-in, but because I'm doing a renovation and I'm not around all the time, I'm not living in the house, it was so good that I could access a lot of the footage remotely. So I could be back home basically, seeing exactly what's going on, at least around my house, while I'm nowhere near it. And it just gave me a peace of mind that I cannot explain. Because I've got friends, for instance, who have done up their houses, but they've lived in the house while they're doing it, and they do it room by room. They're there all the time. I wasn't. And when you're not there, your mind does wander. You're putting trust in people who are potentially there on their own and things like that. And yeah, the amount of peace it gave me and alleviated my anxiety when I could literally just open up my phone, open up the app and see what was going on in and around my house. Massively recommend. So one thing that I really wish I knew sooner, just because I think I probably would have thought twice about purchasing it if I did, and something that I don't think was explicitly said online, is you have to pay to watch the footage after an event has occurred. Let me just explain what that means. So, example, someone knocks at your door and you view it on the app and you view it in real time, great. If you don't pay an extra subscription fee, after that event occurs, the video deletes. You literally cannot access the video. So on top of the amount that I paid to purchase the Ring and the floodlight, I then had to pay a monthly subscription per device, and they give you a little bit of a discount if you've got more than one device, right? So I think I pay £8 a month for all 3 of mine, on top of obviously the amount that I paid up front to store all the footage that has already occurred. So for instance, if someone knocks on my door now and I was busy at the time, so I couldn't answer, and it was a parcel, a delivery, I wouldn't be able to see who that was thereafter if I didn't get that subscription. So for me in my situation, it was really important that I pay for this subscription, but I know other people who I'm close to who also have the Ring device. For them, they're like, no, why should I have to pay the additional amount just to view the footage that I've already paid for? It just doesn't make any sense. I think they need to be really explicit with people up front, because I do like to watch my footage after the fact. Sometimes I'm working, I'm in meetings, I can't just answer the door. And so for me, it's really important to have that footage there stored away. And I don't know if all the others are the same. Maybe that's how they operate now. Anyway, for me, like I said, it was really important because that's the initial reason I needed the cameras installed in the first place. So it was a no-brainer, but I just wanted to give you guys food for thought in case, again, you wanted to do a bit more research before going ahead with something like Ring. Oh, something else is sometimes it picks up on things like cats and foxes, and I just don't think it's sophisticated enough to determine whether it's a person in the distance or a bloody cat. Which is sometimes a little bit annoying because I'm like, oh, who's outside? And it's absolutely no one, it's a cat. I have my floodlights on all evening, so from dawn till dusk, from dusk till dawn. Which way around is it? Dusk till dawn. And it goes on automatically, which is great, so I don't have to do anything on that front. I know having them on all the time isn't the most energy efficient, but for me it gives me peace of mind because those floodlights in itself act as a deterrent. And to be honest, a lot of people, especially neighbours, thought they were just lights to begin with. No one actually thought they were cameras, which I don't know if is good or bad, because to begin with I did see a lot going on which I just wasn't aware of. And then I think once, or now, people know, especially people local, know that they are cameras. There's been a change of behaviours, let's just say that. It's also worth noting my floodlights are pointed downwards almost. They're pointed at an angle. I'm pretty sure when we had them installed it was recommended to do it that way so that when it rains the water falls and trickles downwards and it doesn't settle on the camera or the lens or obscure it in any way. Same with my doorbell, it's covered by a shelter, so again it's protected from any rainfall elements and things of that nature. You can also set off the alarm, so it's got this alarm system in. For instance, if you're in any imminent threat or danger and you want to alert other people, you can sound off the alarm, and it is pretty loud. I've tried it before, it's pretty loud. I suppose in the event that you needed to, it should do the job in terms of alerting others, but hopefully you won't need to. All in all, I'm still really glad I had them installed. They do have their flaws, of course. I still have to charge my doorbell from time to time, although I don't think it's as often as some of the reviews I saw. I don't see it as being that much of an issue. I'm really glad I don't have to charge the floodlights at all because they're wired in, but ultimately it just means that I have the peace of mind when I'm out, when I'm not at the house, when the builders are there and things like that, that I can see remotely kind of what's going on, at least from the outside. For me, that gives me a crazy amount of peace of mind. You have no idea. So I would suggest it for anyone who is going through the renovation process and isn't in situ in the house, because it means that you have eyes on the house even when you're remote. And I was actually considering installing them internally as well, but I haven't quite got there yet. I might do though, just for, again, peace of mind and potentially a little bit of laziness, because it means I could be lying in bed and flip open the camera to see what's going on downstairs. There shouldn't be anything going on downstairs. In the end, I ended up getting my window fixed without them having to entirely remove the window or anything. They removed the arms, the metal arms, they replaced them. They gave me a new handle, a new lock, and I think that was all for, I want to say, between 50 and £100 all in, which is less than I expected it to be. So a win is a win at the end of the day. Anyway, that was my not so short update. I hope it gave you a bit of food for thought in terms of home security systems. I know some people have them where other people, external people, operate it from the outside, and if anything untoward happens, they come running or they alert the police. Mine's more, I suppose, managed on a personal level. I'm sure there's so many different options out there, but I do think if you are doing a renovation, especially remotely, that is something that will massively help you out, or at least give you peace of mind, hopefully in the same way it somewhat did for me. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I really hope to see you in my next video, but until then, take care and I will see you soon. Bye.